Hello friends, this is Udipi Vasist from Saraswati Institute of Medical Sciences, and today I am going to discuss about the topic facial nerve and its components. Facial nerve is the seventh cranial nerve. It is the nerve of the second branchial arch. Hence it supplies all the muscles that develops from the mesoderm of this arch. It is a type of mixed cranial nerve, that is, it has large motor root and small sensory root. Now the functional components, motor component and sensory component. In motor component, spatial visceral efferents or branchiomotor fibers, general somatic efferents. And in sensory component, spatial visceral efferents and general somatic efferents. Now the spatial visceral efferents or branchiomotor fibers supplies the muscles derived from the second branchial arch, that is the muscles of the facial expressions and occipitofrontalis muscle, posterior belly of digastric, stylohyoid and stapedius muscle. General somatic efferents fibers originate in the superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus, and it has preganglionic parasympathetic innervation and supplies the lacrimal gland, sublingual and submandibular glands. Now, spatial visceral efferents are carry small taste sensations from anterior two-thirds of the tongue and some some taste sensations from hard and soft palate. And general somatic efferents carries general sensations from the skin of the external acoustic meatus and deeper part of the auricle. Now we come on to the course of the facial nerve. So first you see in this diagram, this is the motor root or motor nucleus or principal nucleus of the facial nerve. So motor nucleus start moving backward in the pons and turns around the abducent nucleus or abducent nerve nucleus, that is the sixth cranial nerve, and start moving forward and producing an elevation known as facial colliculus. After moving forward, it exits through the pontomedullary junction from the brainstem, and similarly the sensory nucleus. This is the superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus, which is sensory, and this is the nucleus of tractus solitarius and spinal nucleus of tract of trigeminal nucleus nerve. These all are sensory nucleus and together known as nervus intermedius. These all along with the motor nucleus exit from the brainstem through pontomedullary junction. After exiting from the pontomedullary junction, in this diagram, these enters the posterior cranial fossa in the skull, and in posterior cranial fossa there is a canal or there is a canal of internal acoustic meatus or auditory canal. This canal opens in the roof of the medial wall of the middle ear at the anterior end, and the motor root and sensory root together enters the internal acoustic meatus canal at the anterior end, and here it finds the geniculate ganglion through which it separates. Sensory and motor root separates. Now the motor root start moving backward and reaches the posterior end of the medial wall of the middle ear. This is the medial wall. Now it again takes a turn and start moving downward in the posterior wall of the middle ear. This is the posterior wall, and exit through the cranium through stylomastoid foramen. Here you find a stylomastoid foramen. Now see in this diagram, this is the stylomastoid foramen and this is the motor root. Through stylomastoid foramen, motor root of facial nerve firstly gives a branch. First branch, which is known as posterior auricular nerve, which supplies the occipitalis muscle, and then again it travels a short distance and gives a branch, that is nerve to posterior belly of digastric, which supplies the posterior belly of digastric muscle. Then another branch it gives is nerve to stylohyoid, which supply stylohyoid muscle. Now it enters the parotid gland, and here it gives 5 terminal branches. First is the temporal branch, which supplies the temple; zygomatic branch, which supplies the zygomatic area of the face. Then it gives buccal branch, then marginal mandibular, and then the cervical branch. Now, in the posterior wall of the middle ear, there is stapes bone. You find stapes bone of the middle ear. Here it gives a nerve which is known as nerve to stapedius. Stapedius is the muscle which attaches to the stapes bone. And then it gives another branch in the posterior wall of the middle ear, that is the chorda tympani nerve. Chorda tympani, as it moves forward, it along with the lingual nerve, it supplies the anterior 2/3 of the tongue and provides spatial taste sensation to the tongue. As you all know that below the tongue there is sublingual gland. It also gives branch to sublingual gland and supplies the sublingual gland. And here is the submandibular ganglion. Through submandibular ganglion, chorda tympani provides postganglionic fibers and supplies the submandibular gland. This completes the motor root pathway. Now comes to the sensory root pathway. So, as I tell you previously that sensory root separates from the motor root in the geniculate ganglion. Through this ganglion, sensory root start moving towards the middle cranial fossa. And you all know in middle cranial fossa there is a hiatus of greater petrosal nerve. Through this hiatus, sensory root enters, and as the sensory root enters in the greater petrosal nerve, it known as greater petrosal nerve. Greater petrosal nerve, as it moves forward, it enters the pterygoid canal, where it finds another nerve which is known as deep petrosal nerve, and deep petrosal nerve comes from the sympathetic plexus of internal carotid artery, and together these nerve, greater petrosal and deep petrosal nerve in the pterygoid canal, is known as nerve of pterygoid canal, also known as Vidian's nerve. Now it moves forward and enters the pterygopalatine ganglion. Through pterygopalatine ganglion, postganglionic fibers arises and it supplies the lacrimal gland. It completes the sensory root pathway. So now let's discuss about the types of lesions of the facial nerve. There are two types of lesions, supranuclear lesion and infranuclear lesion. In supranuclear lesion, only lower half of the face on the opposite side is paralyzed. As you see in this diagram, that there is a lesion in the upper motor neuron, that is the supranuclear lesion. If the corticonuclear fibers of the left hand side is paralyzed, then the lesion will produced on the lower half of the opposite side of the face. This is the supranuclear lesion. Now the infranuclear lesion, the whole of the face on the same side is paralyzed. In this diagram, see, there is lesion on the fibers on the left side is affected, and the lesion is produced on the same side, and whole of the face from upper and lower face of the same side is paralyzed. Now we talk about the infranuclear lesion. According to the signs and symptoms differ at the different sites in the facial nerve. So in this diagram, see, if the lesion is at or just above the stylomastoid foramen, then it causes Bell palsy. In Bell palsy, lower motor neuron type paralysis of facial nerve muscles. Why? Due to the compression of the facial nerve near the stylomastoid foramen. Now, what are the features of the Bell palsy? So, firstly, facial asymmetry. Facial asymmetry is due to unopposed action of muscles on the normal side. Then second, loss of horizontal wrinkles on forehead due to paralysis of the occipitofrontalis muscle. Then widening of palpebral fissure, and so the widening, third is the widening of palpebral fissure and inability to close the eye. This occurs due to the paralysis of orbicularis oculi muscle in the eye. Then fourth is the stagnating of mouth towards the affected side, which occurs due to the paralysis of zygomaticus major muscle. Now, the second site of lesion in the facial nerve is above the origin of the chorda tympani. There is the origin of the chorda tympani. In this, Bell palsy occurs along with the decreased salivation and loss of taste sensation in the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. Why? Because chorda tympani nerve supplies the anterior two-thirds of the tongue and provides salivation and loss of salivation and taste sensation. So, if the chorda tympani nerve is affected, then Bell palsy along with the decreased salivation and loss of taste sensation in the tongue occurs. Now, third site of lesion is above the origin of nerve to stapedius. In this diagram, this is the site of lesion. In this, along with Bell palsy and decreased salivation, there is hyperacusis. Hyperacusis is what? Enhanced sensitivity to hearing, because the function of stapedius muscle is related to hearing and vibration senses. Now, lastly, the site at the geniculate ganglion. If the lesion occurs at the site of geniculate ganglion, then through geniculate ganglion, which nerve is passing? Greater petrosal nerve, and greater petrosal nerve is supplying the lacrimal gland, and the function of the lacrimal gland is the lacrimation. Then, if the lesion occurs at geniculate ganglion, then there will be the loss of lacrimation. So, this is all about the facial nerve and its functional components, clinical, origin and course. I hope you understand the facial nerve now. Thank you for watching.